Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Terra Invicta, episode number 17 in our series as the Academy. Welcome back. It's been a long time. I've been sick. I'm still a little bit sick, but it's just been too long since the last episode. Anyway, we've just finished Strategic Deception. Goal is in this one, I know I've said this 1,000 times, but I really am trying to get further along the timeline. Let's try to make it to like 2034. Let's make it. I doubt that'll happen, but do our best here. Okay, so what do we want to do here? This is our typical xenology research. We could get the research center, because if I am upgrading all my low Earth orbit stations, we can do this upgrade. I mean, basically, it'll just cost more of the goods that I'm already making a lot of. This is my daily income, which is already pretty good. So I wouldn't mind spending a little bit more. We'd have to accommodate the higher power demands, but this would have the benefit of giving us 25% xenology science. So that would be great, right? That is only 1,000. I think I'll just do that to fill the gap. And I kind of would like to do the storyline related ones because that gives us the push to actually be more aggressive towards the aliens from a role-playing standpoint. It would just make more sense. But at the same time, progressing the storyline ones puts all the other factions more at odds with you. So there's that. Also, just a note in the background, I am going to be, like, as time progresses. By the way, cool that, February 29th is modeled. Leap years are modeled in this game. It's crazy. That's awesome. But, okay, anyways, it's March, early March. We're going to start unifying EU. There's one problem with it right now, that it's, integrated is great. Hegemonic is not good. So all these guys are trending towards hegemonic, and unifying them will actually put a little tension with that. So I think that that'll actually help us get back down to where we want to be. Also, we just did finish we finished all the solar arrays. So power is being generated on these. And on the labs where I reserved enough power to do the solar upgrade on this, I'm going to do that. And you can see that we're still power positive. I just want to put it on camera so you're seeing that I'm doing some upgrades of some of our satellites. Or stations, really. They're not satellites. I guess they are satellites, because that's the definition of something being in orbit. But, yeah, so we have the life science upgrade. I did some information science research center upgrades already. Just plop this onto that. And the life science bonus does drop out while this upgrade is going on. But since we have the power capacity to support it, in the end it should be more research. So we're doing it at a time, actually, it's very convenient, where we are not doing any life science research. So that's... But I'm going to be doing that even for the ones that are under active research. Alright, bringing back in just a research update. We've done a few things. I don't think I showed contraband scanners or social science, or we just got transnational investments, so those things have happened. Just making steady progress on those. I've also been doing, in the background, some upgrades on the stations. So now we have new projects since that last one, the investments finished, and right now, we probably want to do social science again, since it's basically the category that I have faction projects for. I actually have literally no faction projects for life science, and I think I have one faction project for information science. Nope, I have none for either of those. So there's really only one choice for me if I want to keep all my different things diversified, because I think there's 8 total sciences, and I have 6, that means if 2 are down, I have to use... There's only one more choice to get a diverse set of 6. So what do we want to do here? I've actually been trying to do the investment ones, get those. Let's pick up the not management research again, for crying out loud. +2 to hostile takeover could be interesting. It doesn't really matter. I don't think any of these are really spectacular. I probably won't ever even do this one. That's something I've seen the AI use. We might just start with gain +2 on... That's just so unimportant. Maybe maximum effort would be good to have in our back pocket, just for like a critical roll, maybe against the aliens or something. So let me do that just to have it. Other update is I've slowly begun to consolidate Europe, so now EU consists of everything that I owned previously, except for Germany. Germany's mission right now is just to get as much mission control. There's 2 regions, so we can get it up to a maximum of 16, 8 per region. Once it's maxed out, or even when it's up to like 15 or something, then I will unify it with the EU, which is also on a pretty aggressive mission control expansion phase. You can see that we're at 61 out of 74 now, instead of, I think, last time maybe around March, I was around 65. So we've gone up by 9 in that time. I think we're making pretty good progress. And what I'm going to do is start expanding in Mercury. I want more skunk works, and I want more money-making facilities. We are losing a lot of money right now, but nanofactories are going to go up. There are a few going up in low Earth orbit, which will help our economy boost. But actually, the thing which is most important to me right now, and it should be obvious, like everywhere that I go, knowledge is to the max. That's not only very fitting for the academy, I think it's actually the most valuable thing. If I could go back and do it again, I would do the 5% for welfare, 5% for knowledge boost that you get in the first week of the game. They ask you. I chose economy, and I had some reasons for it, which makes sense only really for the first 5, maybe 10 years of the game. And probably not even 10, because we're well beyond that already after 5 years. So anyways, that's what's going on. I've also been monitoring the global status of things. It's kind of interesting to watch I don't know if I rehash this too often, but it's just hilarious to me to watch the resources of the servants. They're doing so terrible. We've really hampered them. They have no water, no volatiles, very, very little space presence, very low research. I mean, we have really stifled them. The only thing that is somebody else robbed them. I was like, I couldn't get their transnational coordination to be sabotaged, and they were up to 8,000 last I checked. But someone else has obviously dropped them back down, so that's awesome. I haven't really seen. I mean, look they did this to themselves. They're at war with almost everybody. In fact, in the weirdest way possible, the only people that the servants of the aliens, the only person who they are not at war with is humanity first, whose only goal is to eradicate the aliens and all who support them. A mystery, truly a mystery. Okay, molecular assemblers has finished. This gives us. Well, I don't think it's actually going to give us anything immediately that we can use. I don't know what molecular benefication is. But next up, there's a couple options for us here. I'd like to steer away from material science as a global tech for just a little bit to give me a little time to catch up on plenty of options, plenty of things that we can do for material science and the faction tech. If I was to go with one of them, it would be either ultracapacitors or diamondoids. Another candidate is to do life science, since we have no life science. There's a lot of possibilities with information science. I know I'm upgrading a lot of the information science research centers, so we probably don't have that high of a percentage right now. Oh gosh, it's 90%. Okay, yeah, that's good. So we'll probably go with information science. Let me just figure out which. So I think I'm going to pick up self-repairing software, especially because it leads to administration algorithms. I mean, first of all, it leads to good stuff by itself, like, I don't know, improved ECM module. Tactical drones actually very good, because I'm in the process of building up the US military. But administration algorithms gives you a lot of really nice stuff, I think. Improvements to the amount of materials you're mining for metals and fissiles. It also gives you, a boost to control points and economy investment. Yeah, this seems really useful to me, so we'll beeline down this path. Well, I actually made a mistake. I wasn't paying attention to my research, and we completed their weakness. Now, I don't know if that's a bad thing. I was planning to do some mishmashing of the points over, or distributing points over the different techs. I did not. Anyway, we can still do it. There's still 2 more story. I mean, I think, I don't know which ones they count as plot text. I just imagine this one is. Nonetheless, let's read it. While it is attempting to regard the Hydra as almost godlike compared to humanity, were that truly the case, they would have simply seized Earth in one fell swoop. The question, then, is not of whether there is any chink in their armor, but of exactly where it is located. Of course, no species, least of all a sentient one, would ever willingly reveal its vulnerabilities. As such, directly questioning the Hydra about what they feared most, or what they most fear, was inevitably a fool's errand. More indirect methods were instead required and have yielded a singularly valuable insight. First of all, I haven't read this yet. I don't even know what this is. I wonder what it is. I'm trying not to read it. I'm covering the screen. Well, let's just find out, I guess. This has been one of our more uncomfortable projects. Trying to figure out some way to force the Hydras to the negotiating table has led us down dark paths. In the end, the solution came, once again, from
are expatriates. Some of the more anti-alien members that left our faction have migrated to a faction known as Humanity First, led by a figure known as Colonel Castillo. Humanity First are not satisfied with merely defeating the Hydras. They want to kill them, all of them, and have conceived of biological weapons with which they hope to wipe out the Hydra race entirely. Humanity First believes that the Hydra pharocytes can be used as a point of vulnerability, allowing direct access into the Hydra brain and immune system. Our researchers have looked at the HF data, and though they lack sufficient expertise to say for sure, they believe that Humanity First designs have the potential to work. Obviously, we do not wish for this plan to proceed. Even apart from the ethical concerns, the deployment of this kind of bioweapon would represent a further escalation in the human-Hydra war that would, in all probability, end with the extinction of our species, their species, or both of us. The threat of such an attack, however, might be the leverage we have lacked and needed. This kind of brinksmanship is an extremely dangerous game, but we are at this point out of options. We will set our researchers to work on developing a proof-of-concept bioweapon. I hope we are not making a terrible mistake. Oh man, it just reminds me of those, at least those movies about, but I mean, the reality is these places exist. I mean, they store viruses, right? You can just say, oh, it's just a prototype. Oh no, oh god, it got out. Oh no. This is really cool. I just love the story here. Man, I try not to talk about it too much because we're actually making really good progress per unit of time in this video so far. I don't want to spoil that. So next is what? Oh no, research exotics. Yeah. But at least we made more progress. I mean, I guess that's not kind of a bad thing. Now, our research we've actually unlocked several things, so I'm glad that this came up. So their purpose, pharocyte resistance, I started to research this one by accident. So I had two Xeno technologies going on at the same time, just for a brief moment. Oh no, it was this one I started doing. But there's actually a new one, pharocyte scanners down here. Aliens suffer -2 enthrall missions against our control points, and -2 enthrall public missions in nations where we have executive control. These are quite good. And there's also this one, which is basically very similar. Both of these together would be really, really fantastic. I mean, ultimately, if we ever get there, the greatest thing will be. I don't know where the storyline goes. I really don't know with Academy. I assume it eventually goes hostile towards the aliens. I mean, why else would this be a space battles game? In which case, we won't need these if we just exterminate the aliens. But, that's not the Academy way, so we'll probably research some of these. Our research bonuses with all these, you can see the second tier research centers are starting to kick in, especially the ones around Earth and low Earth orbit. Those are just, our bonuses are getting way up there. I'm very happy to say. We can just look here. Okay, space science, which unfortunately is one of the ones I want next. We'll have to boost that one as well, but it's only 64. It's actually the lowest one now. Life science is up to 92 because the welfare bonus it gives you is incentivizes me to make a lot of those labs. Anyways, I think the next one for us will be the pharocyte scanner, which is only 10,000. The other one's 20,000. So we'll get the 10,000 first. Whoops, did that actually register? No. So we'll get that one, and then let me just quick update while we're here we are at the end of September. I have been look at our points, our control points, 511 out of 571. We have room for like 1 or 2 nations, assuming that they're not too big. I've already taken Sri Lanka, by the way, because I don't know who it was. I think it was Initiative controlled. I just hate seeing people ruining their spoils, but the only reason I took this one was because it was cracked down already. My target, however, is going to be what I think is the majority of the servants' research at this point. This is 2 points of research from the servants. Now you get some base amount. I guess we can look here. So 1 from faction headquarters, 37.5 from counselors, and that includes, the organizations and all that. I'm getting 70 from nations. So 70. Excuse me. Well, 1.2K is just a teeny bit bigger than 60, 50 times bigger. But I don't know where the servants are getting their research from. Effectively, I mean, if I'm at 160, 40 of this is coming from counselors and faction headquarters, and the servants are at like 20. So I think that basically their counselors and their orgs are counting for all of their research. 20.4. I'm at 161. They're at 20.4, which means that it's probably like none of their research really is coming from nations, but this is still producing 60, so this is still 2 out of the 20. 2 of that is coming from Taiwan. So that's just my long way of pointing out why I want to take Taiwan and own it for myself. The control points are like about 11 each, so this is 33. We have plenty of budget for that. And then I also want to start, and by the way, this is before our unification of Germany, which will reduce the 511 down even more. And also, I struggled with this for a little bit. Let me just show you that probably everybody playing this game already knows this kind of stuff. But if you rest your cursor in the Relations tab, if you rest your cursor over any flag, it'll give you all the reasons why you can or cannot do, well, really the reasons why you cannot do some of the things you might want to do. Like we're allied with Portugal, EU and Portugal are allied. I want to have a federation. One of the things here says join federation requirements with European Union, fail. So it knows that I can't do that because we still have 42 days left since out of the 180 that need to pass after the executive control point has switched hands. So that's what we're waiting on the timer. This was some cause of confusion for me. I wasn't sure. In fact, there was another reason why. At some point, I was playing around with this a lot. It caused me to look into editing save games. I never have done that still. I mean, I actually practiced trying to do it to try to get Portugal into the EU. But, this current playthrough is still completely unmodded or untouched from any editing like that. All this is to say, if I had known you could just rest your cursor here, I would have saved myself a lot of grief. Because I even tried to declare war with EU on Portugal, and it turns out that you can't do that if you're allies with one of their allies or something like that. So I had to get Portugal to stop being allies with the US, and then EU could declare war on them. So anyways, if you're ever worried about why you can or cannot do something, this is very helpful, and I wish I had known that. I probably did at some point, but I wasn't using it against Portugal. So anyways, we're going to blob out the EU. Not really the nation I had desired to blob out as, frankly, but I'm targeting South America because there are a lot of servants stuff down here. 15 more research there, 20, there it is. That's another 1.5 research. If I just start kicking them out of all these places, Taiwan, and I know that they have Malaysia down here, but that's not giving them that much research. They're going to need some places, right? We can't just completely eliminate them. But I think that we are going to push back pretty hard and make sure that they don't have any research and really no capacity to do any war. Let the aliens reveal themselves. Alright, I got a little too ahead of myself in all that talking. Same date, still end of September. I wanted to mention a little bit more about the station upgrades. You can see that now Life Science 2 is now Tier 2 modules for those researchers going. I don't even have the material science ones or the military ones because I haven't. Those research categories are tied up with global research, so I haven't done the faction research to get the Tier 2 modules. But at some point it's only like 1,000. I'll probably just double task those things for a short amount of time. But you can see that the life science ones have gone up all over the place in low Earth orbit, which gives us a huge, I think we're at the max 30% welfare bonus that you can get from having those modules in Leo. And there's even more we could do. Just need some more solar arrays, so there's, we shouldn't have any plus, areas where we can add new things. You see this, then the question is why? So this one has a surplus of 21 energy, which is probably enough to already upgrade some of these, like the Xenology Lab is 5. Oh, do I have the upgrade? I do. This is 20, so we have 15. Well, that's quite possible. Let's go ahead and upgrade the Xenolab. This is low Earth orbit. Yeah, okay, good. Just making sure. Because I know one of these in Earth is the synchronous orbit, which is not, it's not in the interacting, the bonuses don't apply on that one. Anyways, let's also get the extra, because that's not a whole lot of power left, so let's get the extra solar array. Oh man, this would give us a lot. No, that's just 42. If we had, thinking about fusion, which is coming up eventually, but, and then maybe, so space science, we have not got the, yeah, we have, okay. So this goes up from 5 to 20 as well. Well, I already did it with xenoscience. I regret that. I should have done it with space science, because xenology is like already plenty fine. But this will take 29... Okay, good. So this will finish at the same time as these do anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do the space science upgrades. We can get an additional 2 of them. That's because this will provide a bonus of... Oh, crap. Okay. Sorry. This is 5 that we lost. Another 5 that we lost. Where were we at? Were we at 21? Yeah, we are 21. We had 21 left over. That means that this will take us down. So that means this one is going to... This will take us down to 1. This takes us up by 42 to 43, which is not, unfortunately, 45, which is, each one of these is essentially 15 additional energy. Unfortunately, that means we can't do more than 2 extra ones, because the third one would be 45, and we're only going to get, with all the power, 43. Still, we'll go ahead and do this. Well, there's our 2. We should have done it symmetrically. But one day these will be upgraded to solar farms, and then we'll have more power, which we can get to do more space science labs. And those actually will become tier 3 at some point. Anyway, that's the kind of game we're playing, is just trying to push all the research. I have established 2 more places. I may have already shown that. I think I showed it on the camera, didn't I? At Mercury. We did 2 new places, which was why this is up from 61 to 67. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's 2 3s, and the 3s are the tier 2 platforms. So, okay, I'll go through this and make sure all this is done. Yeah, see this here? No, gotta keep going with these. Where's solar array? So we're at 71, which is actually a lot. We're gonna have another 42 after that. Right, the materials labs are not... Yeah, we don't have the upgrade for that one yet. I gotta get that, in which case... Actually, wait a second. We already have 3 here. I may not need that last one. What's the upgrade gonna be? 15. So we're at 71 plus 42 is 113. So that is basically 105, I think, right? 105 is the max, factor of... like whole factor of 15 that we can fit in there, which is 7. So we have 7 we can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Huh. Okay, so that's good. So this one will allow us to upgrade all of these. Great. And anyway, I'll just keep doing the math like that and go through the rest of these. Very, very, very cool. Deuterium tritium fusion has been completed. So this has a lot of nice side effects with it, which is, of course, one of the reasons why we targeted it. It increases the global nuclear fusion tech level by 1. So this buffers against the world energy crisis events, which I've actually never suffered from, so they're just... Maybe that's because I beeline for these kind of things, but I've never seen anybody else suffer for them either. I mean, I've heard about it, but anyway. Also increases the economy... It has like 10% of a less effect on carbon dioxide, and the economy actually works 2% better on the per capita GDP, which is how it works. It raises the per capita GDP by like 100, something like that. So now it raises it by 102. Anyway, little by little, that's how you win this game. Little bit here, a little bit there, and that's actually one of the reasons why I like it, because it's all about the maximizing your efficiency, really. I mean, not that you need to do that to win, but it does have a nice positive effect. Civilian fusion reactors is going to be very helpful for us. I think that gives a big boost to the economy priority. 10% or something like that? Maybe it's only 5%. As for what we're going to do next, the one thing I do know is that we only have 3 techs we can really choose from, which is space science, life science, and going back to energy. So space science, energy, life science. From here to here, this is our list of possibilities if we don't want to double up on anything. There's just no way I would do either of these from space science. I don't think that those are very useful yet. Life science, I already mentioned, would be really nice to switch to allow some of the faction projects, like for energy, to open up, considering we have no life science faction projects, so it'd be really nice to be doing the global for that. And extended space survival is something that we're going to need for the tier 3 stuff. So I'm probably going to do that, but I'm going to have a think about it first. Well, I know which one I'm going to take, but I'm actually going to take, just throw everything I said previously right out the window, because I'm going to be taking a rival culture. This has the faction projects for this are just so good, we should have them. Some of them are going to increase control points, some of them are going to have other benefits, including plus 5% bonus to knowledge. And I'm only at like 44, 46. I think I'm at 46 now because I rearranged a few organizations. It says 44, but it should be 46. Unless, did I take the other one? I don't know. But anyways, it's around there. And we're going to get another 5% boost to that out of this. So I think that this is really good, and I'm going to do it. The only thing which is going to need some fixing then is that I'm doing social science already, and we want the full bonus to go to a rival culture. That's okay. Executive privilege, it's not really that important. I probably need to figure out what other thing. Oh, fusion files. Well, there we go. I know I want those, so now we've all got it squared away. This is no longer 70%, it's now 78%. It's a lot better. And I think that a lot of these bonuses are going to be ticking up as well as soon as the those stations go fully online with the new science labs. And I just advanced time like half a second, and we completed a whole bunch of new nanofactories. That's really great. First of all, our money situation has gotten a lot better suddenly. So I think that these are now producing money. Yeah, we can see that they are producing 80 money each. So 240, which is divided by 38. Yeah, and this was at 15 or so, and now we're only at -7. That's very, very helpful. I can say it's a lot of money we're saving. In fact, with the spoils that we're generating, you can see that we've actually been dropping. We were at like maybe 41 last year, and now we're down to 39. So we have been losing the battle. But with the spoils that we're gaining from Yemen, which is not a full spoils, it's one of those rare situations where I decided not to go full spoils. I probably should have, or at least I could have taken over another point in the Gulf states and taken that back just to do spoils. But I haven't been that keen on it because that's a decent amount of money. We can live with this kind of floating bank of 40k, and 40k. It's like a coincidence or something. But I think we could go a little harder on Yemen if we wanted, and we could also probably steal a control point here. We have the control point capacity to do so. But it's always nice to not have to do that and still make money. I actually think that money is more important than I thought it was in this game. And if I was to give advice to myself starting a new game, or really anybody else, I would say really focus on money. Money is everything. Because with money you can do direct investment. I mean, you need influence as well, but influence appears to me, I think it seems like everybody who plays the game has the same opinion, that influence eventually becomes like a kind of a trivial, not important resource because you have enough of it. But money is needed, and then when you want to do direct investments, like, okay, sure, 3.5 influence, yeah, I can handle that. Can I handle 1,000 money? Well, that's a little bit harder to pull. So we could use this to actually make really, really good nations. I probably won't be doing it yet, but God willing, if all the nanofactories turn on and we have a lot of money income, I would love to be spending those points basically stealing from the poor and giving to the rich, essentially, stealing from Oman and Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states and all these places like Dubai, stealing from these places and then giving it to well, I guess it is, it could be like the poor, Mexico or Bolivia, to improve these places. Sri Lanka as well. Like, get these ones that are not quite in ship shape into a little better condition. Alright, we picked up advanced prospecting surveys. This gives us 10% mining bonus. We're up to 120 for water and 91 up from 81. That's pretty significant for the other 4. That's great, but it also gives us a chance to look at a new tech, which I'm very excited about trying to pick up. It's going to take forever and a day, but civilian fusion reactors. So, okay, it gives us 5% economy, but the other ones are also very, very cool. Economy produces only half as much carbon dioxide and also produces a quarter less methane. So this is very important. Now, with a 65% boost currently to the energy, this will take a long time. By the way, I probably should go through that we've like at least unlocked a lot of new techs like molecular beneficiation. There's other ones that I'm blanking on, but so this one is going to be important one day when when we don't have such a positive income. No, I mean, honestly, I want to do this one ASAP because our Voltage is probably our weakest of the 5 right now. But there's also, I mean, we seriously need to do the Materials Research Center. I might even do that one. Should I squeeze that one in now, even though, well, probably I should finish battery farms, and who knows, we probably need to pick up a material science one for the global research after this. So, okay, I'm going to defer that for now and just pick up civilian fusion reactors, which is going to lock up energy. Now, if you're wondering why I want to talk about energy for a little bit, this will have us finishing in 2035, end of April. So basically mid-2035, 2.5 years, because we are at the end of November 2032. But this is going to be cut down like significantly. And that's because a lot of stuff is still going on over on Mercury. We have a lot of the stations currently building skunk works, and when all those go up, all my faction projects will get a benefit. But also some new, so just I guess I need to Academy Mercury there. Okay, so let's see. We have solar array. Okay, good. So perfect. Energy research is currently being upgraded, which temporarily removed the 5%. Is it 5 or is it 2.5% bonus? I forget. I think was it only 2.5%? Anyways, the Energy Research Center will give us 10%. We have 2 of those here. Whoops. We have 3 of them here. 3, yeah. And then a skunk works underway. We have got to be some skunk works here, and yeah, no energy stings here, but skunk works, which will help. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is, although it says 2.5 years, that's going to come down a lot. So hopefully we look at not finishing it years from now. Another thing I want to point out in the national or international scene is I have been raising significantly public opinion in India. Right now we have only 512 out of 573 points, and I like keeping that low as possible, just to make us less of a threat. But since we're starting to spike, my new algorithm, by the way, is to build, and I should even build one more. I will build one more platform on Mercury. My new algorithm is to stay 4 under my cap. So I'll just keep building things on Mercury until we get to that point. Eventually, when I feel like we have enough base economy going on Mercury, because our money will fluctuate right now between like -15 and plus 10. Spoils is going to cover, if we're close to 0, Spoils is going to increase us by quite a lot, just through Yemen. But I plan to also use some of my control point available under the cap for going back into the Gulf states or somewhere here to pick up an extra amount of spoils. But what I wanted to say is actually not about India, although I was planning to go into India just to have a toehold on at least one control point so I could get to the executive if I need to. And that's pretty key. On the big nations, I think we already have done this on Russia. In fact, we control already the executive in Russia. So that, nobody else's finger is on the trigger except for me, for the nukes. Now, Humanity First has gone up to what the AI considers a nice amount of 10 nukes, and they've also gone up to 10 armies, which is the max that they can support, even. So they're just building navies for these armies now. I think it would be great but they have completely ruined the economy and the well-being of their citizens. They've gone up to extreme inequality. This used to be the hallmark of all the AI factions. The only ones that it makes sense for me would be the Initiative and Humanity First. Humanity first from the perspective that they're willing to do almost anything to, defeat the aliens. But they're not. They're humanity first. They're not aliens. Kill aliens first. So they should still be at least somewhat concerned with the well-being of humanity after the aliens are dead. It's not self-destructive to the point where they would blow up both species to eliminate the aliens. No, I mean they want to preserve humanity. So the self-destructive tendency only makes sense to a degree. And then initiative, obviously, they don't really care about spoils. So I'm gonna move into China just to save the planet. I mean, really, this is the place where things are the worst. I mean, even Japan is like pretty good, and I think that this is the initiative's I believe this is their most expensive nation. They have a few other like Alpine and all that, but they're not destroying them the same way that Humanity First has just completely destroyed China. So I have decided, even though I'm on good terms with Humanity First, and I would prefer to remain on good terms with them, they for some reason have not done any of the Humanity First things. Like, they're not really at war with the aliens. They are, but it doesn't seem like it. Like, man, not really. And they are not even at war, which is crazy, with the serpents. So you know what? If you're not gonna, despite their very powerful resources, they have the most amount of control points besides me. I think we need to rob them of those because they obviously aren't using them for anything good if they aren't even attacking the aliens or the servants with them. So that's the plan. Alright, I might as well do this on camera because we do have the 1 point remaining for my new algorithm, stay 4 under the cap. I'm going to found a new platform so you can see the new template that I'm using. I think it's nice, but if it's not, I put it here to solicit feedback. What I'd like to do is just put down 2 solar collectors. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you put stuff, but symmetry does look nice, and I hate that I don't have symmetry in some of my other ones. And then I'm going to put down construction modules for the other 2. Why construction modules? Well, these are going to turn into nanofactories, but if you start building them ahead of time, you're shaving off time to go. I mean, you can build, going from straight to level 2 is the same as going from 0 to 1 and then 1 to 2. It's exactly the same amount of time, but if you can't build level 2s while you only have a level 1 module, then this does save time because you're essentially constructing things while it's a level 1 module until you get to level 2. So once this is finished on December 26th, then we'll switch this over to an orbital core. But if we do that before it's finished, then it'll just take the full amount of time. And in theory, if you have modules that are finished while you're upgrading from 1 to 2, I think you still get the benefit of the entire platform while the core is upgrading. But individual things, when they are upgrading, do not get the benefit of the item which is being upgraded from, if that makes sense. So the level 1 science apparently does not give a bonus while it's being upgraded to level 2 science. Still, getting level 1 science and upgrading to level 2 means that the upgrade time is less. I mean, it's the same as if you built it from scratch, but if you already have an existing science station there, it's less. Okay, anyways, that's what I'm going to be doing, is keep putting these stations down, and that's going to take us up to 75. There it is. And as soon as that one is complete, I'll leave a little space, and I'll jump that up to a level 2 module. And then we can keep throwing on skunkworks, nanofactories, whatever we want. So it will be much more positive in money as soon as some of the other construction projects going on around Mercury, which, I don't know, I can probably zoom out far enough to get to something here. Like, this one is building energy research stations as soon as these are done at the end of the year, apparently. On January 1st, this will begin making money for us again, which will be really nice. That's skunkworks, but also 5 nanofactories, which will go on actually producing money. That'll be great. Despite the kind of preposterous theory I have, at least, or I think it is preposterous to try to flee the aliens, I mean, in all other senses, Project Exodus has some pretty reasonable quotes and reasonable viewpoints on things. Anyways, we've finished arc lasers. Surface defenses will employ arc lasers now. Great. I mean, this is leading us towards, most importantly... Oh, it should show it here somewhere, but I don't know where. This leads us to phased array lasers, which I don't know why I can't see here. These are faction projects, I guess. Anyway, we actually can't do the phased arrays lasers yet because we need to do ultracapacitors first. Ultracapacitors is awesome. I haven't mentioned it. At some point, and I need to stop and actually explain to everyone what my theory on where to go for research is. But just in a nutshell, let me tease you by saying My approach is to go for terawatt fusion reactors, which you can see we've already built our way towards very nicely. We just need ultracapacitors and diamondoids. That's right. Yeah, I actually should have had diamondoids already, but basically we're two techs, like not too complicated techs away from having terawatt fusion reactors, and that is the end of our engine and reactor research forever, even including when we have more advanced energy. What was it called? Dark energy. What is it called? This is antimatter. Yeah. Once we have antimatter, you may think, oh yeah, that's great. No. The best thing you can do, in my opinion, is if you want to go for antimatter, fine, do it for weaponry. Terawatt fusion reactors is where it's at. They have, by far, I think, the best engine in the game. They have the best reactors in the game. They're awesome. So that is what we want. But anyways, we're not going to get there yet. We aren't even building ships yet. And maybe Academy is like the wrong team to do a perfect ship build with, since they're not very aggressive militarily. Well, speaking of military, what are we going to do next is, we have a few options as far as military tech goes. I know I mentioned already that life science would be a good choice for us. Unfortunately, we're using the civilian fusion reactors, so I want to avoid energy one more time. We're already doing as well something for material science, although this can be put off. We can actually just say, hey, go ahead and defer this until after the global tech is researched. Like, say, for diamondoids, we could do that. That wouldn't even take that much time. But I think that we can just wait on diamondoids, which is only going to give us armor. And ultracapacitors has a lot of good things it unlocks, mostly about the fusion stuff, but we don't really need to go all the way to that elite status yet. So I think that we'll probably end up doing something like the life science or a military one. Let me just figure it out and come back. I think it's basically too cheap not to pick up extended space survival at this point. It's definitely something we're going to want in the long term. Predictive genetics, who knows? Maybe we don't even care about our counselors living 10 years longer. But I don't know. This one's fine enough for now. And it's life science, which we have a huge benefit to. We just got all this research, all these stations up on low Earth orbit. Speaking of which, by the way, a lot of modules just went from Tier 1 to Tier 2. The Tier 2 center module has completed for some stations, which was what was in the background. Like, this just happened. These just completed. So we can see, yep, November 30th, the orbital core has been completed. So I'm going to have to go through some of these stations now on Earth and actually doing the upgrades now. So I'll do that, which I think happened for maybe 3 of them. Oops, so that's 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 stations which need some upgrading, and I still haven't fixed this. I should look into that. Alright, this is a very nice project for us to have completed. Aliens get -2 on enthrall missions against control points. They haven't really done that much. Probably because I think we're in a pretty locked down status already. But the second one, much more important. This happens all the times in Canada. I don't know why they just love going for, what region is this? Like White Lakes, Whitehorse, Canada. They've been there so many times. Aliens suffer -2 on enthrall public missions in nations where we have executive control. Now I'm not sure what exactly they're doing there, but I don't know. I keep getting alien activity over there. Next for us, we have a couple options. I think that there's one more down here as well, right? No. Okay, so all the purple missions are up here. Community policing drones sounds very good. Oh, this is what we probably need more, because this is against terrorizing abductions, which is probably what's happening up in Whitehorse. That would be very useful. It also would take down enthrall public missions, which those huge jumps in public opinion. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. We could also start making more storyline progress. Or we could start moving towards even more ferrocite resistance. I think this is... I'm not even sure what that would mean beyond this. Maybe we'll start like 10,000 points in this and then finish this off. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. You know what? I'm curious enough that let's do that one next. Their purpose is obviously something that we should be researching for the storyline, but that's also the reason why I don't want to do it. As far as the relations go, lately things have been a little bit messy. First of all, Humanity First and Resistance have both been just dogpiling on top of Project Exodus. So although, and we've lost our non-aggression pact, by the way, although for some reason we're still tolerated by Humanity First despite not having but they've just been weird the whole game. I feel like their AI is behaving more like Project Exodus, and Project Exodus is behaving more like Humanity First. I don't know what's going on, but anyways, and look at this. The initiative is in conflict with the servants, but tolerant of the aliens. It's just a very, very strange situation, and they have been at war with Project Exodus the whole time. And it's just kind of fun to watch all these things happening. Now, another vote in favor of us trying to dethrone Humanity First from China. Do you really want to abandon? Oh, I was trying to abandon this one control point. I'm trying to figure out why I have 525 here. I think I had somewhere abandoned, and it became unabandoned. I have no idea where. So I'll just go try to figure that out. It might be down here. Maybe it's this one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't need to abandon any. I'm under the control point limit anyway. But what I was trying to say is China has now declared war on a whole bunch of people, and it's usually Project Exodus. Lately, most recently, I think it was Afghanistan. But let's see if I can find... Where do the wars get listed? Here, I think. So we got a war against the Initiative, then it's against Project Exodus, Project Exodus, Project Exodus, Project Exodus. Humanity First, Resistance, Humanity First. Don't know what Project Exodus has done that it would anger these folks so much, but there's, and they're not even officially at war, they're just in conflict. So, it just goes to show you, don't mess with those guys. Anyway, nothing more. Well, we're pretty much at the end of this episode here, and hey, the good news is we went a full year, and I feel like I could have gone a little bit faster still. One thing you may have noticed, maybe not, but is the money has been continually jumping around with nanofactories operating or building, either making money or not. We're positive right now, and that's not including the spoils. We've now taken one part of the Gulf states, so we're making a pretty good amount of spoils on top of that. But the thing I wanted to highlight on this screen, the technology screen, is of course the science research bonuses, which are now almost all in the hundreds. It's actually very impressive, the big difference, just putting all those things. And a lot of the research bonuses we're getting are from science labs in low Earth orbit, meaning that we're getting whatever secondary benefit that you can get from those, be it like knowledge boosts or welfare boosts or detecting aliens, public opinion boost on those public opinion campaign missions, all those things that we're getting, or boost to mission control, all those things. So we're getting a lot of these really good things. The only thing we're not getting as much of as, and it's crazy to say this because I think it is our biggest, is material science right now. We still haven't developed the tier 2 material science lab, and it is... Yes, other than xenology, which it'll always have a hard time competing with, material science is the highest, and I have a lot of nanofactories being built in low Earth orbit because that gives me the economics bonus, but each of those will also give another 1% to material science. So material science, this is going to just be skyrocketing. Now the one last thing I wanted to do before we end this episode is continue to stay proactive. I feel like this series, despite this long lapse, is probably going to have some fall off of viewership. That's to be expected, but sorry, I wish I hadn't gotten sick for more reasons than just the fall off on the video series. But I think that with this we've been reborn, and I feel like I'm going to make quick advances. And anyway, I'm feeling good about things. But solar system. This is what I want to look at here. Is prospecting. We're going to go over. Yep, it's already sorted by volatiles. The thing is, when we do a lot of these stations with all these, whatever, could be the skunk works, could be the nanofactories, all this, they generally have like an equal take for both water and volatiles, which means that as they both go down at the same rate, the ratio of water to volatiles gets more and more lopsided. This might have been like 10 to 9 at some point, but if you subtract 9 off of both, it ends up being 1 and 0, which is, a very bad ratio. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take one more place, and I've identified Agaria, asteroid 13, I guess, as the target. So we're going to go ahead and just take this place. It's also at the perfect window for taking it. Where did you go? Did you go there? You didn't. We didn't get there. Let's try that again. I said go to area. There we go. Click on it. Oh, good. We're in the launch window. What do you know? How convenient. We found just an outpost on the site. And we can't do, we don't have anything in orbit, so this will just take 10 boost. Oh, boo-hoo. I just launched off, by the way, right before coming on camera, about 100 probes. Different places all around the, each of them is only half a boost. So that's not that much. Obviously, it didn't even impact. I was at 1.2k, I think, when I started. So when you're rounding to the nearest 100, things don't matter that much. So we found an outpost here, just targeting, basically getting the... it's pretty clear that we're mainly just targeting getting all the volatiles there. But it's actually nice that it has water and a little teeny bit of metal, which I don't really care about. But the water's nice, so we will get that to boot. And that's mainly what I care about, is that. And this will have to be powered by... 8 power. It'll have to be powered by fission, because I don't have my... I do have my fusion up. This monthly support 019 for fissiles versus 05. So it should take a little bit of extra water. 065, 062. Wow, it barely takes any extra water. Now it does take a little bit of extra volatiles. Technically we have volatiles to spare, I would say. But we'll do this fusion thing anyway. Just going to give us, not even sure how that's possible. We'll just go with it. We'll build it in space. That gives us 20 power. And then we have 10 power, well, I guess technically 12 power, which we can distribute among 2 other places. Well, that's definitely going to be possible for us to do. We can do a 5 and a 7, a 6, wait, so it's, 12 is 2 6s. We could do 2 information ones. I don't know. I mean, basically our research bonuses at this point are so high up there. What about military science? Maybe just doing 2 military science? Because that one's a little bit lower. And probably that's because we have more things still being built. Anyways, I'll just pick 2 labs. It doesn't really matter. The bonuses for all of them are high enough. And this is where we'll call this video to a close. So I think we've made good progress. I'll probably be... I mean, this is a full year, and I feel like we can just... As soon as I say what we're trying to do, I don't need to come back on and show you every time. So, I mean, I'll come back to this, but in the near future, yeah, we don't even have that many technologies that need to be worked on. I mean, these are both finishing same day. Isn't that crazy? How did that work? They're both finishing the same day somehow. I might even just tweak one of them, like get that guy to not finish on the same day, just so we don't have to deal with it. Yeah, but those bonuses are really nice. And look, I mean, 86%, 63%, 54%, even with a lot of people contributing, we're by far and away the highest contributor, which is good. Just says that we're, our research is really up there. Anyway, until the next episode. Oh yeah, and by the way, one last thing. I did mention about civilian fusion reactors not finishing until end of April 2035. It's now down to September 2034. What changed? Well, the energy boost has gone up by a ton, and we also had 1 skunk works come online. That's only 1 skunk works. I know that there's at least 3 more, and maybe it's even 6 more that are potentially being finished. So that's another 15 to 30% that we're going to get on top of that. So I suspect this may even end up being finished before halfway through the 2034, which is great. So we end up doing it in basically a year and a half, or at least definitely under 2 years. And that's what we can expect for all these technologies moving forward. Any of the local ones at least. Anyways, until the next episode, thanks for watching, stay safe, and take care.